Hey guys, Erik and Aubrey from Edrumcenter here, and we're going to talk about Hawk Custom Edrums. We haven't actually done a video on Hawk talking about them, especially in this particular series, which are the Flight series we launched last spring. We actually ran into shortages of parts and stuff, so we really haven't really started getting a bunch out to customers until more recently. Mm-hmm. And then the USA series launched this spring. We're just finishing up our second full shell pack. So I'll start off with the Flight series. The idea behind these is just to give somebody that maybe has like an older rolling kit or even a newer rolling kit with smaller toms and a kick drum, if they want to get the bigger shell sizes. Without having to buy a whole new drum kit, you can get these shells and essentially change your whole kit game around into larger shells. Also just gives customers more variety. Like Roland VAD series only has one color. F-Note, which our stuff also works with F-Note modules, there's only two colors on the whole F-Note line. It just gives people more variety of how they want to look. The colors we offer in the Flight series are black, white, smoky chrome, grindstone sparkle, and mirror chrome. This is what's available right now. We offer it in both a 5-piece shell pack with a snare or a 4-piece without the snare, which is more for people that have like the Roland digital snare, or they want to buy a kit with a Roland digital snare and use that instead of our snare. So we have that as an option as well. The sizes of the Flight series are pretty much fixed at 20 by 16 kick, 14 by 5.5 inch snare, 10 by 7 high tom, 12 by 8 tom 2. And these are both those toms are mounted to the bass drum. And then there's a 14 by 14 floor tom. We're using our Pearl export shells. We're putting our Hawk 2-ply heads on there, which everybody loves. They're getting rave reviews. We're putting the new Talon 3 trigger system. Was it last spring that we started doing that?
Yeah, around that time.
Around that time, yeah. And the difference between Talon 3 and Talon 2 is the Talon 2 was our center mount cone design, which Roland used for decades. It was a pretty good system actually, but it did give you a hot spot right above that where that cone was mounted. And so a lot of customers kept asking us to do an outside cone mounting system like Roland VAD, ATV, F-Note, Zildjian's using it. Seems like everybody's kind of switched over to that method of mounting their triggers.
Yeah, pretty much any brand's full-size shells are going to have that.
Yeah. Our snare drum actually has 4 cones and piezos for the head and 2 for the rim. We actually did 2 for the rim to get each hand, right and left hand, the same amount of velocity. Mm-hmm. So because you're doing like right hand rim shot, left hand rim shot, that kind of stuff. So we have 2 piezos for head on the 10, 1 for the rim, 3 for the 12, 1 for the rim, 4 for the 14 floor tom, and 1 for the rim, and then...
No, it's only 3 in the floor tom.
Only 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we do the 16, I think we do 4.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. We can do a 16-inch in the Flight series, but it's not in any particular kit. It's just an add-on. So if you get like a regular 5-piece and you want to add a 16, we can do that. Those are on the website. There's 2 piezos in the kick drum. The idea behind that is to get equal amount of signal if you have a double pedal for both beaters. And it seems to do a pretty good job of that. And the kick features our new feather kick system, which is essentially like foam behind where the beater hits to give you a really good rebound. Sometimes with just mesh, if you don't have anything behind it, it can be fairly bouncy. And so this kind of cuts down on it and gives you that kind of feel you're looking for without having to stuff pillows or blankets or anything in to get it to feel how you want. We do a 5-year warranty on them. They work with pretty much any module that we've tried. We test them out and we design them and prototype them with Roland F-Note, Pearl Mimic Pro. It'll work with ATV, 2-box, E-Drum in. Mm-hmm. It'll work with those. Even though we haven't like tested ourselves, I know customers that have bought them and used them with those.
Should work with Alesis too.
Yeah, with some of the Alesis modules that have Roland pad types.
Yeah.
And even just if they don't, I think it'd probably work okay just with Alesis pad types as well.
Yeah, it seems to have been. I think Yamaha is really the only thing
the DTX Pro and DTX Pro X, they do have mesh drums that they sell, but we just haven't tested it.
That's true.
So we actually are probably going to do that soon, and we can add that to the list. That's pretty much it for the Flight series. The series we launched this year is the USA series. Flight series is more of just like, you can get it in these certain sizes, in these colors, and that's it. We can't really get outside of that because of where we're getting the shells, which are pearl, like we said. So with this series, we're getting the shells from Nordic, which are all sourced in the USA. They say they get their shells from like the forests of Michigan or whatever. And then we're using Delmar wraps for the most part. That's the ones we've used so far, which are all made in USA. Really high quality wraps. We have a local Tennessee drum builder that does the bearing edges and drilling the holes and everything for us, installing our lugs. They have same triggers, the Talon 3 trigger system is installed in these. Same heads, Hawk 2-ply heads, which have gotten great reviews. This particular series is using tube lugs, but we technically could, if somebody wanted something specific, we could explore that. We could use any lugs since we're basically drilling the holes and installing the lugs per drum. We're not really stuck to any kind of one style or anything. Because that's the case, we can do pretty much any size and finish, which includes like stains, that kind of stuff. Of course, all that's gonna change the price. So when we're talking about the USA series, it's more completely custom. So we'll just have a conversation on what you want, figure out how much that's gonna cost and let you know. We don't have like a set price on those. As far as like where these would, the USA series would come into play is like somebody wanted something like a high-end like quality product with a specific finish that Roland or F-Note or the companies that just have like X number of colors and options can't do. That's where we would step in and be able to give somebody the exact look or sizes they wanted, and that's that. It's a completely made in USA product, so it's not gonna necessarily be at the mercy of any kind of shortages coming in from overseas. We were having tons of problems during the pandemic getting product from overseas, so this kind of insulates us from some of that. We have our second USA series being finished up, so we have a couple kits that can be demoed right now, and we have a full flight series set up in our showroom as well. So if anybody wants to come in and check these out, compare them to some of the other stuff we sell, that's totally a thing you can do.
One thing that's been really cool, I've got a dedicated builder now for the Hawk drums, and with that there's been some ideas thrown out, and that's how we came up with the new kick drum, the
Feather kick system.
Yeah, that was such an improvement. Not that the old kick drum didn't work right, but we've been selling these for years now, and that was always the one thing we still wanted to improve the most on, was just getting the kick drum just feeling really good. And now with this new design on it, it just feels really good, and it's one of those things that's encouraging when you see an idea finally come to fruition, like, this is what we were looking for. And it's the same with the Talon 3, not that the Talon 2 was bad, but it was a center mount design, and so depending on what module you had, there might have been hot spot, might not have been. And so the Talon 3, when we came out with that, was just encouraging to see that pretty much no matter what module it was with, it got rid of the hot spotting issues. Because some modules, that's more easy to notice than, like a more modern module, the hot spotting, even with the center mount's kind of gone, but if someone has an older module or a different brand, it may have been more obvious. So just the improvements that have been made to the Hawk series are just really encouraging. And
over the last year, we got our mesh heads in finally.
Yeah, the mesh heads are probably my favorite part overall, really. Those things feel so good. And
it took us years to find ones that we actually liked, that we could get, built to our spec and everything. And we actually showed these, the Hawk series or flight series at Nashville Drum Show last summer. Mm-hmm. And our heads were like, people from like big stores and other companies were coming and like, these are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. So, and almost everybody that plays on them likes them as good, if not better than anything else that's out. Mm-hmm. And because we're, importing them ourselves, it's helped us lower or just keep the price down. If we had to continue to use Roland heads or another manufacturer's heads, which are almost triple the price of ours, over a 5-piece kit, that just adds up. So it's helped us lower the price, and we can invest more into like making the shells better or the lugs better, other stuff.
That's one thing I wanted to say too. I don't think it was mentioned. Prices are always subject to change and stuff, but the one good thing about the Flight series is if you compare it to something like just buying the shells of, say, the Roland V80 line or F-Note line or something, you're looking at a quarter of the cost.
Yeah, one Roland V80 kick drum is like the same price as our whole shell pack.
Yeah. and the quality is not 4 times better like
No.
the Roland. So
No, Roland's great.
Yeah.
We love Roland stuff. We love all our manufacturers. They make good stuff, but don't think because our stuff's affordable that it's crappy.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
actually,
Yeah, that's
know,
exactly what I was getting at. Because some
there's
people,
not any drop off.
some people will see other brands that they're like $600 for a 5-piece shell kit, and then they get it, and it makes sense why it was that much. But ours are lower cost, but the same quality level as any other brand.
We're not making these in overseas and importing them. We are in buying on the flight series. We're buying the shells and some of the components from Pearl and using those. But we actually looked to buy shells and like lugs and rims and everything all separately was more expensive. So we just decided to go with these. Pearl makes great shells. They make great drums, and so it just seemed like a win-win for this particular series to hit this price point. We wanted to make them as affordable as possible, and this is what we came up with. And we've sold quite a few.
Yeah.
We're converting a kit this week, and we have pretty much every color ready to ship right now in that series except for the mirror chrome, but that one's next couple weeks. So, and the plan going forward is to have one of each color at least ready to go and ship out. So, like Aubrey said, we have a dedicated guy that he comes in, he builds Hawk drums, and that's pretty much all he does. And we do R&D and stuff with him as well. So, yeah, I think with that being said, that's pretty much all we need to say about the Hawk right now. We want to get a video out on these because we didn't really have one. If anybody has any questions, feel free to leave questions in the comments down below. We'll get to them. Or you can reach out to us directly, and we're happy to talk to you that way as well. And thanks a lot. Subscribe for more, and we'll talk to you guys next time.